Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to NMS. Here's an interesting video, and I want you to actually watch this more than once. Maybe save it so that you can look back on it again, because it might actually be very helpful to you. But a lot of people don't reach their goals because generally they make a lot of mistakes when they actually make their food, and they don't get their calories right, which means they don't get the protein, carbs and fats right, which basically means that they may be well over their calories, but they think they're eating the right amount. So let's go through a few of these things that we may be doing wrong, and let's address how we can fix the problem. So number one, not measuring your foods. If you're not measuring your foods, how do you know if you're eating the right amounts? So let's say you've decided that you're going to make yourself a nice chicken salad, have a little bit of rice with it because you need some carbohydrates. And you go, oh, yep, I'll start spooning on the rice onto the plate. I will start to go and make up a salad. And chicken, yeah, okay, cool. I'm pretty hungry today, so I'm going to eat this whole lot of chicken breast. It's been cut up in pieces because that's how you like to eat it. But you don't know how much chicken you have. You don't know how much rice you have. The salad, there's not a lot of calories in lettuce and tomato and different vegetables like that. But when you put dressings on them, that can make a difference, okay? So not measuring your foods, not measuring everything that you put into it can be a big problem, pretty much number one problem. Number two, using cooking sauces. Now, maybe you're cooking away, thinking, oh yeah, a little bit of sauce, yeah, a bit bland, bit more sauce. How much sauce did you actually add, and how many calories did you add to your meal that you just cooked up? So maybe you made a stir fry and you went, oh yeah, I'm pretty good. Bit of oil, yeah, bit of sauce, and everything is a little bit sort of unmeasured. And so what happens is that you end up with more calories and probably more sugars. Now, sauces on your foods, that's number three. So maybe you go and make yourself a nice dinner, but then you think, oh yeah, maybe I've air fried my chips, but I'm going to put a little bit of sauce on them because they're a little bit bland. I just need a little bit more flavor to them. You could easily put salt, but you love your tomato sauce, right? But you don't count your tomato sauce. So how many extra calories did you add? Well, you don't know because you don't know how much tomato sauce you actually added. So now let's get to number four. So oil for your cooking. Now, some people say, that's fine, I'll just spray my oil in. Yep, cool, you're not going to use a lot of oil if you spray it in. But what if it's a meat that, is quite dry and your pan sticks a little bit? So you think, I've got to put a little bit more oil. So you add a lot more oil to the pan. It doesn't stick now, but the meat's soaked up all that oil. Okay, so now you've got a lot more oil in that meat. How much more oil? Well, you don't know because you didn't measure it. If you were to measure the oil, you go, okay, cool, I'm going to put a tablespoon of oil and I'm going to cook enough meat for 4 meals. You can go and take the oil and divide it up into 4 quantities, and then you know how many calories. But if you just go, oh yeah, oil, that's good, yep, cool, that's not going to stick. How much extra calories did you add? Okay, now if we go through the first 4, we've probably added a fair bit more calories, or we don't know because we didn't measure it. Now, number 5, mayonnaise and salad. Okay, cool. How much mayonnaise are you putting in there? Always pretty smart to measure mayonnaise. Mayonnaise has a lot of fat and a lot of calories. It's made from whole eggs, so it's actually going to have a lot more calories than you think, and it's also got a lot of sugar in it because you want to have the flavor of the mayonnaise, which is sugar and fats. Okay, so how many calories are you adding? Well, you don't know because you're not measuring. So you need to know, and if you didn't count the mayonnaise, well, there's a whole lot of extra calories in there that you probably don't realize you're adding. And that can make a big difference to the calories that you actually have in what was once a healthy salad, but then you've gone and added a lot of extra fat. So what's number 6? Well, salad dressings. Now, if you're putting, let's say, vinegar into it, vinegar doesn't have a lot of calories. But let's say you think, oh yeah, I'm going to add a nice salad dressing, 1,000-mile dressing, you never looked at the packaging. You just went, okay, cool, yeah, it's salad dressing's pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of calories. Pour it into your salad. Yeah, a little bit bland, pour a little bit more. How many calories did you add? Well, you don't know because you didn't measure it. You really got to check your salad dressings because they can be a very big hidden calorie. That and mayonnaise. Okay, now let's go to number 7, not counting your vegetables. Vegetables don't have a lot of calories, but if you have a half a plate full of vegetables, they can still add up to your calories, so you definitely got to weigh your vegetables or at least measure them. Now that brings us to number 8, which is weighing your rice pasta before cooking but using cooked calories. Now, obviously, dry rice, dry pasta has a lot more calories than cooked pasta and cooked rice because they absorb a lot of water. But let's say you think, oh, I need 100 grams of rice. Cool, that hits my calorie mark, okay, and my carbohydrate mark. But then you actually add it as uncooked when you go and put it into your calorie app or your tracking app. So now instead of having 100 grams of rice or 100 grams of pasta that has roughly cooked around about 120 to 140 calories, you've put 100 grams uncooked, which now has somewhere between maybe 250 and 350 calories, okay, depending on how you cooked it. So you've actually doubled to tripled the amount of calories that you've actually eaten, but you didn't realize it because you weighed your rice or your pasta before you cooked it, but you counted the calories as uncooked. Makes a big difference to your calories, 2 or 3 times your calorie mark. So that also brings us to number 9. Now number 9 is weighing your meat cooked, but using before cooked calories. So for example, when you go and cook meat, it dehydrates, so you lose a lot of the water in it. So you think, cool, I'm having 150 grams of steak or I'm having 150 grams of chicken, but you're really having 200 grams because you actually weighed it when you cooked it, but you think you've actually used the uncooked amount, okay? So you've added another, pretty much another 30+% of your calories in there because of that dehydration. So actually weighing before or after, but then making sure you use the quantity before or after is quite important for most of your meat dishes, and especially you've got to do it for your pasta and your rice, okay? So wherever you go and use it, what stage you used it in, that's where you've weighed it. You've got to actually go and use that amount in your calorie counting. Now, number 10, and the final one, eating different meat cuts than you actually recorded. That makes a difference because different meat cuts have different amounts of protein and fats. So if, let's say, for example, you want to have chicken breast, but instead you had chicken thigh. Chicken thigh per 100 grams has a lot more fat in it and a lot more calories than chicken breast. So that's an important one. Let's say, for example, when you go and actually cook your beef, you go and say rump steak, but you've gone and used maybe a fattier cut of beef, all right? That's going to make a difference to your calories. And then if you go and say that you had lean portion, but you didn't actually cut your calorie or your fats off your meat, it's not the lean portion. So it does actually make a difference to the overall calories and to the overall fat. And to the extent that you make the mistake with all these different variables, 1 to 10, can make a huge difference to how many calories you believe you're eating versus actually how many calories you did eat. So guys, have a look through these different list of mistakes that people make when they're cooking and counting their calories, and make sure that you're not making some of these mistakes, because if you go and say, I'm eating 2,000 calories a day, but I'm not losing weight, the answer to that question is either you're not eating 2,000 calories a day because you're not measuring things correctly when you cook, or number 2, you're actually not going to lose weight on 2,000 calories a day. The majority of the time, people actually make a mistake with how they track their food, and that makes a big difference to their calories, okay? And to their fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. So look through number 1 and 10, look through this video more than once just to make sure that you understand what I'm saying in terms of the different ways that you can make a mistake, and then look at how you actually measure your foods and see if you can't improve how you do things so that you can get your calories more accurate. Thanks for listening, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I do actually have programs available for how to go and do a nutrition plan, and I also have I have programs available, both fixed and custom, and I also do coaching. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Have a listen more than once and make sure that you understand what I've just said. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.